All right. Hi, William. Welcome back. We missed you. So the question of the day says, what do you think is the difference between abiotic and biotic variables? There was a reading that we did yesterday in class on this, so if you need to get that out and use it as a guide, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 minute on the clock so that I can take attendance, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. You can check it during passing time. I don't want you anymore. Please. All right, looks like some people are having time with the idea of quiet reflection. So let's go ahead and just skip the rest of our time and turn with our pair share partners and share out, please. What do we believe the difference between abiotic and biotic variables are? Your time starts now. Turn and talk, please. I'm going to say go. All right, 3, 2, 1, and we are done. Would you mind turning it so we can see this side today? Fabulous. Let's go ahead and start with biotic, and please don't scream at me, biotic. So biotic. Kendall, in the front, what part of this word looks familiar to something we have been talking about?
Bio.
Yeah, the bio, Maya. What word have we been talking about that starts with the word bio other than biotic?
Biosphere.
Biosphere. So when we are talking about biotic, it has something to do with the biosphere. Jose, the biosphere is the study of what? Or the biosphere contains what? Yeah. So then biotic variables are what? Peyton in the back. Yeah, so these are the living organisms in an ecosystem. All right, so then let's look at this next word, which is exactly like the first word, except one thing is different. Hassan, what's different between this word and this word? Yeah, which letter has been added, Cooper? A. So by adding this A, Cooper, what does it change biotic to? Which means what? Not living things. So these are all of the non-living objects in an ecosystem. Somebody who has not been called on, could you please give me an example of a non-living thing in an ecosystem? Braden.
Dirt.
Dirt is a good one. Somebody give me another one. Rebecca. Rocks. Give me one more, somebody. Nope, you already participated. Billy. What, honey? Fossils, which would be like rocks, darling. Yep. Water. All right. So then today, we are going to be building ecosystems, and in those ecosystems, we need to have abiotic, and we're going to put some biotic things in there. So what I want us to do, please, is if you could turn that over this way, and everybody, want to remind you that we have a quiz on spheres tomorrow. Today, students are going to learn what the parts and functions of an ecosystem are. Students will plan, design, and build a working ecosystem in class. So could you please get out the piece of paper that you picked up on the way in, and let's put that in our TOC table of contents. I would greatly appreciate that. On the back of this piece of paper, can I touch this? On the back of this piece of paper, you have got a data collection. And we're going to, we're going to go ahead and make an initial observation and picture before you leave today. So you have to give yourself time for that as well, initial observations. All right, so let's look at the front of this once you put it in your TOC. We're going to go ahead and look at the front and see what it is we are going to be doing, because there's some prep work that you need to do before I'm going to allow you to grab materials. Here's one thing that I want you to know. The top of your bottle is going to look a little bit different than the top of the bottle we have here. And I wonder if this is why some people are getting confused. So what I want you to do is get rid of this bottle cap part. It's just going to be a smooth top like that. So first, let's just start there, and then maybe that'll help give us a visual of what it is we're doing, because it's going to look like this. The bottom of one bottle is going to be your grow chamber. Okay, that's where it's going to be. The top of another bottle is going to be where the dirt is held in here. This is where the soil is. But this bottle has been cut, right? We have two bottles. You're going to cut the top of one bottle in, well, how about we cut one bottle in half? We'll cut one bottle in half. Does that sound good? And then maybe a little bit more than half, like 3/4. And then the bottom part, or the top part's going to be where you have the soil, and then the bottom part's going to be where you have water. Okay, that's going to be where we put our hydrosphere. And then in the top of the bottle, we're going to put our geosphere. That's our dirt. And we're going to plant in the dirt. Plant seeds, and also I'm going to give you one green onion, and then you can either have a worm, because they swore that there was 50 worms in here, and I'm like, there's not 50 worms in here, so I'm getting real low on the worms. You can have a worm, or you can have an isopod. And in the isopods, we have gray isopods, we have pretty pink isopods, so we've got some isopods in there. Now, when you are creating your ecosystem, we have to give the isopods a place to hide, and they like to hide because they don't like light. So I've got some Spanish moss that you can just kind of put in part of your ecosystem so they have a place to hide. Okay, so we'll just add a little bit of Spanish moss in your ecosystem. For the worms also, you just put that in there. Your seeds need to go in the soil. Okay, we're not just going to put them on the soil. If you put them on the soil and sprinkle them, just cover them up gently. What's up, Rebecca? Really good question. You are growing a mixture of microgreens. So these are just going to be, and I've got a whole bunch of seeds up here. You're going to take just a bunch of them, but count them out. So you're going to take a bunch of them, and if you have like 20, 25 of them, that's fine. But count them, because we're collecting data so that we know what it is we're putting in here. So each table has a little slip of paper that you're going to put the class period and the table number that you're at, and then the start date, so today's date. Then you're going to separate and tell me what abiotic materials you have in there. For example, how much soil? Measure that in grams. I've got the soil over there. I've got our geosphere. You're going to take, I've got cups in there that say 1 cup or half cup, and so you can take as much as you want. You're going to be filling, right, this maybe a little bit bigger than this, but you're going to be filling this with soil. Okay? Now, you're going to need what's called a wick. It's a string. I don't know if you see the bottom of here, but I've got a string that is in my soil. It goes through my bottle cap, and it's in the water. Why do I have that?
To draw water.
Yeah, because you need water in an ecosystem. Now, this is a closed ecosystem. I cannot stress that enough. Closed means what? You can't open it. Once you seal it, that's it. So does that mean we put holes in the top?
No.
It's closed. If you put holes in this, what's going to happen is all of your water will evaporate and things will die. So it's closed so that water will evaporate, collect on the top, come back down, right? There is atmosphere already in here. Does that sound good? What?
How do the bugs breathe?
I just said what? There's atmosphere already in here.
But don't they run out?
They are not going to run out. But once we start growing plants, what are the plants going to provide? Us, my guy. Okay? That's what we're talking about. So that's what we're going to be doing. Sound good? Let's look. You're going to have 2 bottles. Okay? One is going to be like, you're gonna cut one so that it's got just a little bit of this and this gets thrown away. We don't need that anymore. We want that big top then, or that big bottom, I should say, is gonna be the grow chamber, okay? Then the other bottle is going to be cut so that you can have water and then also your soil in here. So maybe like 3/4 or something like that, okay? Sound good? You are going to need to grab a cap that I've already pre-drilled with holes for you. You're going to need 1 foot of string, tie a knot in the middle so that half of it is in the soil and half of it is in the water. Then you're going to track measurements, okay? So I'm going to ask you, what's the initial temperature of the water? What's the initial temperature of the soil? Our hydrosphere is set up over there by table 2. I got the water out of the tap yesterday, and I've been letting it set all night so that the chlorine in it can evaporate, so that we won't have chlorinated water in our ecosystem. So get what you want. I've got this much, I've got a 400 milliliter measuring. Go ahead and scoop in there, and then just pour as much as you want in your water chamber. Make sure that you're measuring how much soil you have in grams. I want to know how many grams of soil you are starting with. Okay, so I've got scales back there. And then before you seal everything, make sure that you use the spray bottles and give you the top of your soil a nice mist of water so that it starts it. Does that sound good? All right. Cooper, 1, 2, 3. Logan, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to use some very sharp tools. It's a box cutter, or some people would say utility knife, and I need you to be careful with them. You're going to use this to cut your bottle. So best practice is we don't cut towards our hands. We don't do this towards other people. If I see unsafe practice, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave the classroom for the day. I've got 7. I expect 7 back. So what I've done is I've traced my copies here so that I'll be able to look at a glance and know if I've got them missing. Tape, I'm going to control the tape because this is all the tape I have, and what will happen is if I let students control the tape, all of a sudden I'll run out of tape in one class period. So when you need your bottles taped, come to me please and tape them. You've got your biosphere here, you've got your geosphere. You are not allowed to touch any materials until you have the front of this page filled out, along with a little picture on the bottom showing me what you're going to have for a design. So everybody go back to your tables. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. In 5 minutes, you should be done with your design. Have at least one person for your table. Show me your finished front side. Everybody has to kind of chip in, okay? Ecosystems. Does everybody see their little piece of paper? Have somebody put class period and table. That's all right. Logan, you're at table 7, man. You're 7.
I'm at a 7.
Sorry.
I'm a 4.
Okay, my bad. All right, let's go. Name, what are abiotic factors? Fill that in. We just went over that. Non-living. Non-living. What abiotic factors are we going to include in our bottle? What's up, honey? I know, it's okay. They have 2 people also. It's just the way that it kind of ended up. I did. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. Let's just go with it. Let's not worry about that. Let's just go ahead. 2 people are better than 4 people. We got this. Here's our materials. We've got the biosphere. We've got isopods, red wiggler worms, green onions, microseeds. This is what our finished product will look like. We've got our bottles. And now everybody's coming up with a plan. If you are at home, you've got your own little pop bottles of some kind. Go ahead and make something like this. You need a string to go ahead and whip water up. You need to make sure it's sealed so that no air or no water can leak out. And all all the air that you need, all the atmosphere is already in there. And then you need a cap with a hole in it, and 1 foot of string tied in the middle. Are you filling out your sheet, man? You're gonna run out of time. Don't forget, you also have that little tiny sheet at your table that you can start filling out with your table and your class period and today's date. When you have a plan and you've got a picture at the bottom and everything is filled in, show me your paper and then you can start collecting your materials.